Vegas can get a little boring after a while, so me and the better half got all dressed up for a weekend in LA. See the sights, take in the fresh ocean air, only in America. And here's the story about how one of our evenings went. Cold War veteran meets trendy Santa Monica Hipster Joint. Nothing like a trip to California to remind you how poor you are. 4 days in LA and parking alone set me back a C note. I can't remember ever paying $100 for a weekend of parking. Let's not even talk about the hotel rooms, but apparently mandatory valet parking only is all the rage in the trendy LA hotels. Imagine $30 a day mandatory valet parking. Self parking, you say? Forget about it. That's so 1990s. So my better half and I decide to take in Santa Monica, grab a nice dinner, walk it off, watching the freaks on the beach, so on and so on. You know the routine. So we walked Santa Monica Boulevard for a little bit, even watched them film a commercial there. Hey, we're not far from Hollywood. It was really fun and interesting. And then it was time to look for a restaurant. It was dinner time, and I'm pretty hungry. The first place we walked up upon is a place called the Misfits. A little strange, but hey, I'm up for the challenge. The door guy was pretty friendly. He ushered us in with enthusiasm. But inside it was nearly empty. The only customers I saw in there were 20-year-old guys with a standard, trendy, close-knit beard, accompanied with a young snowflake female on her smartphone. Didn't see too many older people. But like I said, not very many people were in there, and the few that were in there all looked the same. Stupid-looking sweaters, old shoes, a silly beard, and that glazed-over look that they get when they see older people. But again, I'm up for the challenge. I'm kind of brave. Here we go. So the waiter bounced in behind us. He was like a Will Smith, Prince of Bel-Air wannabe. Immediately he started peppering us with the happy hour drink specials, aka bring your checkbook. As he was selling us these high-priced cocktails, I couldn't help but notice his attire. He was wearing vintage 1980 combat boots. Yeah, the kind I wore, well, back in 1980. Okay. And he had these rolled up pants that were so tight you could see his belly button hairs. Okay. And what really got me was the moth holes in his musty old sweater he proudly pranced around in. He also had some kind of handkerchief scarf tied around his neck, like the ones I blew my nose in back in 1983. Yeah, it was strange, but hey, I'm up for it. I'm game. Let's take a look at the menu. But unfortunately, when he found out that we don't drink and we only wanted to eat dinner, his trendy hipster face dropped below his knees and he rushed off. I almost laughed. It was so ridiculous. And that's when I tried to decipher the menu. I think it was coded in some kind of hipster imaginary phrases. And I really can't describe it. Let me give you a couple examples here. They did have a few pictures of some fancy hamburgers with kale and embellished toppings, and I did see the ever popular Brooklyn free range burger. Last time I was in Brooklyn, I don't remember seeing any cows, and not sure what the black pigeon burger was, but if my waiter ever came back, I'm pretty sure I'd be afraid to ask. There was the avocado-covered tofu bars, Brussels sprouts, and bacon bits, and my favorite one was the bacon-wrapped kale mozzarella du jour. I might even order that if the waiter ever came back. I might even try that one. And then they had this unicorn-style rainbow cake. I'm serious. I'm not making this shit up. But unicorn-style rainbow cake. Yeah, it was. And what else they had? They had something like the Brooklyn Creole Menage a Trois, French fries, and macaroni and cheese. Was what it was kind of hard to figure out the menu because there was a lot of dashes, and the way they described it, they only had a few pictures of hamburgers, but all the other stuff, there was a dash here and a couple spaces there. Then you'd have kale dash space bacon wrap dash space. I mean, anyhow, it took me about 10 minutes to figure out that this was the weirdest menu that I have ever encountered in my entire life. I imagine that public schools had something to do with it. Well, I had had just about enough, so I went up to the bar to question the bartender as to what kind of restaurant this was and why the waiter disappeared for 15 minutes. Well, he laughed, and we both came to the same conclusion, I think telepathically. He didn't have to say it, but it suddenly dawned on me. We were the oldest people in the joint, and we just didn't fit in with this trendy hipster crowd. So we got up and left, and I was a little disappointed I didn't get to try that bacon wrapped kale mozzarella du jour. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Actually, we got lucky. Right down the street was the best Italian restaurant in Santa Monica. That's the name of it right there. Ooh, was that some good food? And they got some really tasty bread. I mean, I ate enough for 3 people and I tipped like a whale. I mean, the moral of the story is simple. Beware of trendy hipsters who fancy themselves as misfits. Misfits, yeah, okay.